So okay, I think in my last video I promised that I would have one up probably back in like March. Obviously that did not happen, but a lot has happened, but at the same time nothing has happened since then. So I'm gonna do a quick update, mainly just about, I guess, my fertility journey. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, that's what this video is gonna be mainly about. Stay tuned. Stay to the end. I might insert some like clips that I have been recording since that time. I haven't done too much, honestly, but yeah, I'm always recording and not uploading mainly for myself. So yeah, if I find something relevant, I will upload those. I do have like pictures of like my ultrasounds and things like that that I've been doing for the last couple of months here, really in the last month, honestly. So yeah, I'll insert some videos and pictures of that too. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm feeling good today. I'm actually gonna record and I'm gonna get this out. It's gonna happen, speak it into existence. I look so red though. Let's figure that out. Yeah. You can write all this down in my notebook. We just gonna go grab the planner because I don't think I actually wrote any real notes down. Okay, so I moved to Durham at the end of March 29th. And then, you know, spent a couple of weeks trying to get settled, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if it was just time or the stress of the move or whatever, anything like that, but it didn't take long for me to have another bleeding spell. So from April 16th to May 8th, I was bleeding that entire time. It didn't get heavy until the last couple of days. Like that last week I was bleeding, like I started getting heavy bleeding on that Monday or Tuesday, like blood clots again. And I felt really drained and everything. And this time I was just like, I'm not gonna wait until I start to feel super bad like I did before. I'm gonna go ahead and contact the doctor, nip it in the bud type of thing. So I was switching to a new OB here in Durham, and since I hadn't actually seen her yet, like there was nothing really that she could do, so I contacted my old OB in Wilmington to send over a new prescription for birth control. So I was on birth control for a month. I was supposed to take two, like a double dose every day, but that was too much for my body, so I only did one, but it still worked. Like it stopped my period and everything like that. But then after I stopped taking it, I had like a 4 or 5 day period that was also kind of heavy, but not as bad as it was before. So, you know, it did its job, I guess. It kind of reset my hormones. So that was that. So that was April and May. During this time, I was also contacting my new OB, trying to get in sooner to see her, because my initial appointment to see her was for like July, like middle of July or something like that. So I was trying to see if I can get in earlier to see her. So I actually got moved up to an earlier appointment, but it was virtual, June 15th. But it was a really good visit. We just got to kind of like know each other. She kind of, you know, went through my history, all those good things. So take this off. Thank you. But yeah, had a good visit with her. We just talked about my history and things like that, and came up with a new plan pretty much. So we talked about how I already tried 4 rounds of Clomid with my old OB. It didn't work. Wanted to go to the next steps. So she initially came up with a plan, or we came up with a plan of we're not going to try any more rounds of Clomid. She was going to go ahead and send over my referrals for Fertility clinic, and go ahead and next like week or so to get new ultrasounds and blood work, because I hadn't had that done in about over a year, you know, because of COVID. So that was June, just meeting my new OB and kind of getting things reestablished as far as my ultrasounds and blood work. On July 8th, I had my ultrasound, and I'll insert those pictures or whatnot on that video. I think it's a video to show what that looked like. And then a lot sooner than we had planned, the fertility clinic contacted me when we made an appointment, or they contacted me again rather, and said that there was a cancellation and those are earlier time slots. So I actually got to speak with my new fertility specialist on July 16th. Yeah, July 16th. And again, it was a female doctor with an MPH, so cool there. We had a really nice first meeting. Again, she went over like my history. She had already looked over the notes from my OB because she has sent everything all over, and plus with on my chart, which is like the online patient portal where you can see all of your own like information and doctor's appointments and things like that. I had linked the ones from New Hanover to Duke so that, you know, they talked to each other, and my OB and the fertility specialist had all that information as well. So she was just kind of like saying that she was caught up on all that stuff. She just wanted to talk to me to get my feel on things. And like I said, that appointment was really good. It was a televisit appointment. And during that, she actually, not introduced, what is the word? Brain farting over here. She actually diagnosed me with PCOS during this first initial encounter with her, which I told her like that was something I had been thinking about for a while now, just kind of like self-diagnosing, you know, and looking at my own symptoms and just a little research that I knew, that type of thing. And I've been thinking for a while now that I had PCOS, and she said exactly what I was thinking, which was that I had just like a non-standard case of it. So I have some markers, but not the main ones that, you know, people will see as PCOS and, you know, diagnose as. But I had brought it up to my old OB in Wilmington before, and he just kind of like didn't brush it off, but he didn't really take it serious because once again, I didn't have cysts, like I didn't have those markers. So yeah, he didn't look into it. I should have pushed for that, but at the same time, I had other things going on. And she also, her game plan was, so we were not gonna try Clomid again. We were gonna try a new medication called Letrozole. The Letrozole pretty much just grows the follicle, just make sure there's a follicle so that you can ovulate. The Ovidrel forces or triggers the ovulation, and then you have sex or intercourse to make sure there's sperm available in case there's an egg actually released, and hopefully it implants and you get pregnant. And then she also wanted to send me over for another ultrasound in labs. So I was just like, I had that done a week ago, but yeah, you know, your body changes on a daily basis, hormones, blah blah blah. So she wanted me to do that again to see where I was that day before I started the medication, just to make sure there wasn't my body hadn't already like started the process or where it wasn't a process. So she put in the orders, and they're pretty quick. So my appointment was on a Friday on July 16th, and then on July 19th, that following Monday, is when I went into their clinic for the first time. Here we are, day one at the fertility clinic. Oh yeah, so on July 19th, when I went in for that ultrasound and blood work, it showed that I had a cyst. So they were hoping that like my body was going into that process for that cyst to become a follicle and for me to ovulate, that type of thing. So at this point, we didn't start any medication since it was showing a cyst, and some of my hormones were elevated to what I was hoping that I would keep going. So I was just taking an over-the-counter ovulation test, like the P test, every morning just to see if I had ovulated. But this is the one I picked up this time. It has 20 test strips in it. It's double what I normally get for the same price. So I was like, yeah, let's try this one. So I was just looking at the instructions again. And there's the test that we're waiting on. And there's the Zola. Was cleaning. We're still in the middle of cleaning, so I'll get back to that soon. This is actually darker than I've ever actually seen it, so maybe that's something. This plus my mucus maybe actually means I'm ovulating. I can't really believe it because that doesn't happen, so I don't know. But maybe. We'll see. We're still having intercourse or having sex like every other day, just in case I was to ovulate, that type of thing. That was for like a week, from that 19th to the 28th. So yeah, like a week. So of course, none of those came up positive. And then on July 28th, I went back again for, you guessed it, blood work, ultrasound, all that jazz. The plan was for me to start the metroprogesterone to induce a period. That's a 10-day hormone that you're taking. After the 10-day period, your period should come on 3 to 4 days afterwards. And then on day 3 through 7 of your period, that's when you take the letrozole. So that was the plan for me. On the 3rd day of my period, I start the letrozole. And then after that, if the letrozole works, follicles grow, that's when you take the Overdrel trigger shot. So again, that was at the end of July. So we were going on vacation from July 7th through the 14th, and I just didn't want to be on my period during that time. If I can help it, you know, if it comes on, it comes on, but I'm not going to take medication to make it come on during my period. So I held off taking the metroprogesterone for a couple of days, like a week or something like that, and I started it on August 4th. So right before we went on vacation. So that way when I finished it, it was going to be at the end of vacation and my period should come on right after. Planned that out great. So I started it on August 4th. I took it through the 4th through the 13th. Yeah, and then on August 15th, on a Saturday, that's when my period started, and it lasted until the 19th. So it wasn't a really long period at all. And then since my period has started, they wanted me to come in again for, you guessed it, another ultrasound and lab work. All right, guys, so this is ultrasound number 2 with this clinic, and everything looked fine, so I'm clear to start the letrozole. The nurse will call me this afternoon to confirm that, but other than that, everything looked good on the ultrasound. So I'm going forward with the next medication. Smaller room this time. So I came in on the 18th on like a Wednesday for that ultrasound. And this one when I was in the middle of my period, like I said, it wasn't at its heaviest, but it still was not at its lightest either. So I started the letrozole on that day, that same night after I came home, and it was supposed to be for 5 days, and I kind of forgot. I stopped tracking. I don't know. Like, I think I might have been thinking about the 10-day period for the metroprogesterone, and I wasn't really tracking it, lost track, and I took it longer than the 5 days. Just like 2 or 3 days longer until my next appointment. Because when I went into my next appointment, that's when I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute, I don't think I'm supposed to be still taking this medication. So I stopped taking it. The last dose was like that night before, and it was a Thursday. So yeah, I went in again on August 26th for another ultrasound, blood work. All right, here we go again. Another ultrasound. This is one to make sure that I'm actually growing a follicle so I can take the Overdrel shot. So we shall see what they say. This is number 3. I think since I started working with them, 3 or 4, something like that. And I just realized I left my socks. So, no bueno there. Now I feel like I need to go home and wash my feet because I wear sandals today. Oh well. I just finished my last appointment. They actually did blood work and an ultrasound today. And the ultrasound lady said there's nothing happening in my right ovary. But then she checked my left ovary. There were some small follicles, but they don't start counting them until 10, she said. And I had one that was at 12, but they need them to be up to 18 for me to take the overdrill shot. So they're gonna call me this afternoon, let me know the results of my blood work, and just to talk about that. Or normally Janelle is my nurse. She's awesome. Normally she just like messages me in my chart because she knows I sees it pretty quickly and she answers really quickly, so that works for us. But she'll either call me or she'll message me in my chart, and she's going to set up another appointment for me in the next couple of days just to make sure the follicle continues to grow and get up to that 18. If it gets up to 18, and then I'll take the overdrill and we should be on to the next step. But I also just realized that the Freedom Pharmacy was supposed to call me on Monday to get everything set up for the overdrill shot, and they didn't. So I'm going to have to give them a call to make sure that's actually coming out to me. So when I do need to take it, I actually have it. But yeah, now I'm about to get some breakfast and head to work. But yeah. This is the appointment where we found out whether my follicle has grown up to 18 millimeters. And if it has, I get to take the overdrill shot tonight. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But Saturday night, I feel like my ovary had burst because it hurt so bad. So I don't know what that was about. So I don't know. I guess I'll ask about that too while I'm here. Okay, so I just left the doctor's office. I did my ultrasound, and then I had to go back so they can do my blood work. Usually they do that first, but they forgot to pull me in first. So I had to wait a little bit for my blood work too. And this is probably the longest I've had an actual appointment here. Usually in like 15-20 minutes at the most. Like they'll get me in for my blood work, ultrasound, and I'm out. But my appointment was at 8:30 and it's now 9:09. Still not bad at all, honestly. But just like the longest one that I've had. But yeah, during my ultrasound, my right ovary showed that I did grow a follicle there, but it's only 10 millimeters. So it's not big enough. And the one on my left ovary, the biggest one that we were looking at last time, it was at 12 millimeters. It's still at 12. It hasn't gotten any bigger, so it still needs to be up to 18 for me to take the trigger shot. So I won't be taking that today, but I'm waiting for my nurse to call me later on to give me an update about my ultrasound. But of course, like my ultrasound tech, she's the one that's done most of mine here. She always tells me what's going on as she's like measuring things too, so that I really like that. But yeah, the nurse will contact me later on and kind of go over all that with me too, and discuss my lab results, my lab work. And I already do have another ultrasound scheduled in 2 days to see if it does get any bigger, but it most likely it won't. If it did get any bigger over the weekend, I doubt that it'll get any bigger in the next 2 days. So that's where we're at now. Okay, so a small update. My nurse just called me to let me know how that last ultrasound and blood work went, which I already kind of talked about earlier, but she pretty much just said there was no change from last Thursday when I got the last ones done. So we're going to start a new round of Letrozole, just going up to another level. So I was taking 2 pills this first time, which was 5 milligrams. So now we're going to add in a third one, so it's going to bring it up to 7.5 milligrams. And I'll take that for the next 5 days. And instead of coming in on Wednesday, as they had initially scheduled me this morning, I'm gonna come in next Tuesday after Labor Day and do the ultrasound again and blood work again. They're hoping that this time around the follicles will grow larger because they only got up to 12 millimeters this time, and we need to get up to at least 18 to take the trigger shot. So yeah, when I go home today, I'll go ahead and take 3 pills this afternoon instead of the 2, and we'll see how it goes. So today is October 3rd on Sunday, and I'm finishing editing this video, and I'm determined I'm gonna get it out today. But I realized once again it's way too long, so I am gonna end it here, and we'll pick up from this point going forward on the next one. But yeah, thank you for staying till the end of this video if you did make it this far. Again, please subscribe, comment below. I'm going to, I know I said this last time, but I'm gonna make sure that the next one is not 6 months later or however long this one was. So I'm gonna start working on that one today as well, while I'm cleaning the house and everything. So yeah, thank you for staying, thank you for listening, and I'll have another update for you guys soon. I guess you'll see in the next video whether that second round of letrozole actually worked or not, huh?